Greetings! I'm Tantus now Van Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. Today we're going to continue our discussion on Pathfinder. We've pretty much finished our characters, so now I'm going to start going over some of the rules of the game. Today I'm going to introduce combat. I'm going to go over some of the basic rules of combat and start you off. Now this is probably going to be a few episodes of going over it, and I'm just going to introduce a little bit at a time. So today I'm going to start with what a combat round is. It's going to be 6 seconds, meaning 10 combat rounds in a minute. This is the way that you can think about that. When you see spells or abilities that last per minute, it's 10 rounds per minute of combat. So what's the first thing you do in combat? Initiative checks. Whenever you enter into a combat, regardless of how you're acting in it, you roll an initiative check. This is a d20 roll, adding your dex modifier. Now you might have other bonuses or abilities which add to your initiative, and it will tell you what those are so that you get a total initiative bonus. There will be a place on your character sheet where you list this bonus, so that you know and can reference it right away. Once you've rolled this, everybody gives those numbers to your game master and puts them in a list from highest to lowest. If there's a tie, there's various ways of doing tiebreakers. The traditional way I do it is first I would look at what bonus they have to their initiative. The person with the higher bonus goes first. Now if these are matched, they're tied, then I would have them roll a d20 again. Whoever gets higher goes first, and that's how I figure out the order. So you keep rolling until you get both of them, one with a higher number, one with a lower number. It's going to happen sometime, and then there you have your initiative order. Now, until you take your initiative on a turn, you're considered flat-footed. What does that mean? It means when we're talking about your AC, which I'll go into a little bit of detail about next time, you do not add your dexterity modifier to it, and you do not add any miscellaneous dodge bonuses to it. Dodge bonuses don't come up as much. They're much rarer. Certain classes give them, certain feats give them, but really it's your dex bonus to AC is denied. You're not going to add it in. Now for some of you that might not affect your AC at all, but there's certain things that if you're flat-footed, other people might get bonuses against you. Like a rogue would do extra damage to you if you're flat-footed. Now the other thing is you can't make attacks of opportunity. This is another thing I'm going to discuss in one of these upcoming episodes, but you cannot make them when you are flat-footed. Now there are feats and abilities which can ignore some of these things. For example, the rogue can ignore being flat-footed during these initiative. That's one of the examples. They get an ability that allows them to do that. But there's rules for it. You'd have to read it up under the rogue. Once we've determined initiative and we've put it in order, we determine if there's a surprise round. Now what does surprise mean? Well, surprise means someone gets the drop on you. It's based on perception checks. Now sometimes it's based on perception for stealth. Sometimes it's just based on perception during a flat sort of, I'm just moving around DC. I could still be unaware of you moving around even if you're not being stealthy. It just means that I'm being unaware for that time. It depends on my perception check. You basically check everyone, both sides, to see if someone notices it. So you can have actually members of both sides being unaffected by the surprise, or you could have one entire side that already was planning to ambush people, then they automatically are getting the surprise, and the other team has to make perception checks to go against it. It's basically, you do some d20 rolls, you figure out who sees who knows about who, and that determines if there's a surprise. If everyone has perceived each other, there is no surprise round. If even one person misses out at noticing the other team, there is a surprise round. During the surprise round, you can only take a standard or move action. I'm going to describe what these are in the future, but that's if you remember, only standard or move. That's all you can take during your surprise round. Now, on the surprise round, or any subsequent round after that, you start looking at the initiative orders. Now, it even doesn't matter if you're surprised during the surprise round and cannot act, we pass by your initiative order. So I might act first in the turn, but if I'm surprised, nothing's going to happen. And during the surprise round, I still remain flat-footed. I'm unaware of what's going on. We just go down the list, and anybody that is not surprised gets their action, gets to gain their dexterity, gets to no longer be flat-footed. We go down the list, numerically, highest to lowest. Then we go back up to the top. After the surprise round is done, or if we ignored it, we then go down the list of everyone, and anybody that's left that still is flat-footed, as soon as they act, they are no longer flat-footed, and they're good to go. But every time we just go down the list, repeat rounds over and over again until combat is complete. And that's the order that you do for initiative. All right, so I've talked about surprise rounds and initiative this time, and I've brought in some of the basics of getting into combat. Next time I'm really going to dive into the depths of it more and start telling you what kind of things you can do during combat and describe a little bit more about how combat works. So if you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to say, leave it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, you want to show some support, please leave a like. It's a very good way of showing support. If you aren't already, please subscribe, become a citizen, become a member of the Empire. If you know anybody that would learn from this video, would enjoy it, please share it. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.